now I have a human eye.
Could have been worse.
Why don't you use your ill-gotten magic to fix yours?
I used it up in transit.
Probably just as well. The last thing that people need is a magical criminal mastermind on the loose.
Imagine the possibilities.
So yes, Artemis Fowl. With magic. But not until book 5, and we should be starting book 4. As said in the sound of music. So book 4, the first one we are talking about today, is the Opal Deception. You may remember at the end of last week's video, book 3 ended with Artemis, Butler, and Juliet having their minds erased. They're going to wipe his brain at the end of the book if all goes according to plan and no one is like mortally wounded and he runs off. They're gonna wipe his brain. And of course, because Artemis is a genius, everything does go to plan. And at the end of the book, he, Butler, and Butler's sister, who was in the first book, but I didn't tell you about her, they all have their memories erased. The end! That's just how the book ends. At the beginning of the book, Butler and Artemis are robbing a bank because they are bad people who have not had the influence of their fairy friends. Yeah, isn't that great? In book 2 I mentioned Opal Kaboy. I might never said her last name. We introduce a new character, Opal Kaboy, and she's trying to get goblins to start a civil war with the fairies. That's her. See, the large green face. Her face isn't actually green, it's just on the screen. With the raster effect, which I can do. Raster effect. So basically, Opal's plan was foiled in the Arctic incident, and she's not happy about that. So she has awoken from her coma and gone after Artemis and Butler, who don't even remember anything about the fairy people, so it's not fair at all. And of course the LP know she's left the hospital, something bad is going to happen. They have to go help Artemis and Butler, who don't remember them. So Holly goes, because of course it's Holly, duh. Holly goes to the hotel they're staying at to find them having jumped out of a window to avoid the missile that Opal shot at them. You know, bleeding, broken, damaged. She can't carry Butler, so she kidnaps Artemis. I love these books. Opal is trying to kill them. They don't remember. They remember, like, not... It takes quite a long while for them to remember. And then, at the end of the book, someone else takes over the LEP and Holly quits, and that's more or less everything truly important that you need to know about this book that isn't a major spoiler. Book 5 it is red, and it is called The Lost Colony. Oh, isn't that worrisome? The clip that I played earlier is from The Lost Colony, the end of it, when everything works out for the best, because it does. The book doesn't start off with either Artemis or Holly, it starts off with this quirky little imp, and his name is Number 1. And he lives on this island in limbo. And basically he's going sort of through adolescence, but he isn't, which sort of sucks, because everyone else is all, ah, no, we're not imps, we're demons! And he's just the oldest imp ever, more or less, and makes him self-conscious. He's so sweet. I love Number 1. He's just adorable. And... oh, poor sad Number 1. So then he sort of jumps into a volcano because his life is sort of sucking, and winds up in Barcelona. They've got dogs with no noses! Everyone makes that joke. and Artemis is there waiting for him. But before Artemis can get to him, someone else kidnaps him. Why is there so much kidnapping in this series? Ugh. Kidnap, kidnap, kidnap. And it's this girl, and her name is Minerva. And she is like Artemis, but female and blonde. And again, I don't feel the need to really elaborate on this, so basically everything else that happens is trips to Rome and Taiwan and France, and just lots of kidnapping and time travel, and Artemis and Holly have to bring the island back from Limbo. And in the end, Artemis winds up with a bit of magic. Oh. But then we have to think, when he got the gold from the fairies, what did he use it to do? He used it to find his father, and he gave half of it away to help his mother get over her insanity. So, what do you think he's going to use this magic for? Well, he does use part of it, because when they came back from Limbo, apparently 3 years had passed. So he uses it to erase his parents' memories of the last 3 years he was gone and everything Butler told them about the fairies, because Butler didn't go to Limbo. Poor Butler. Anyway, so yes. But that's not everything he did with his magic. The rest of it is used up in book 6, so isn't that handy. You don't get to have your magic for very long, Artemis. Sorry to say. Lemur. Have another lemur. Another thing that happened during the 3 years Artemis was gone. Your parents had twins! Okay, so in the beginning of the book there's this absolutely adorable scene where Artemis is just sort of trying to teach his 2-year-old brothers how to speak French. It's so cute. But then, of course, his dad comes in and says, "Your mother is really, really sick. She might be dying sick." And we're all like, "No, Angeline!" And Artemis is, of course, going to go heal her. It doesn't work. Basically, his magic is tainted with spell-troppy, and he's given his mother this fairy disease, which is really bad. So he gives his mother spell-troppy, and he's like, "Holly, you need to come here because I don't know what to do." And she comes. Apparently the only cure is an essential oil or something found in the brains of the Silky Sifaka lemur, which is an actual lemur that in real life is not extinct, but in the books is. "Artemis, your mother is going to die." "No, we're going to do time travel." So they do. And they go back in time to save the Silky Sifaka lemur. But here's the fun twist. The Silky Sifaka lemur is extinct and it's Artemis's fault. 10-year-old Artemis killed the last Silky Sifaka lemur. So naturally, instead of going back farther and just going into the jungle and getting a lemur, no, they decide to go to Artemis's house and capture the lemur that they already had. Which isn't more convenient. There is a spoiler. If you find this spoiler before you read the books, I will be amazed, because I did give it to you. Alright, I'm not going to give it to you again. But you have it. Okay. And one of the interesting things that happens during the time travel, Holly's age decreases and Artemis's age increases. So they're both about the same age, and you remember how I ship. Yeah. Don't ask why Artemis has a beard. All will be explained. That's why he's got the beard. Because he just didn't shave. Awesome. And then the book ends, and it's just the most amazing thing that I am going to read to you now. Fowl Manor, almost 8 years ago. Artemis Fowl awoke in his own bed, and for a moment red sparks danced before his eyes. They sparkled and twinkled hypnotically before chasing their own tails out of existence. Red sparks, he thought. Unusual. I have seen stars before, but never sparks. The 10-year-old boy stretched, grabbing handfuls of his own duvet. For some reason, he felt more content than usual. I feel safe and happy. Artemis sat bolt upright. Happy? I feel happy. He couldn't remember feeling truly happy since his father had disappeared, but on this morning his mood was bordering on cheerful. Perhaps it was the deal with the extinctionists. My first major chunk of profit. No, that wasn't it. That particular transaction had left Artemis feeling sick to the pit of his stomach. So much that he couldn't think about it, and probably never dwell on the past few days again. So what could account for this feeling of optimism? Something from the dream he'd been having. A plan. A new scheme that would bring enough profit to fund 100 Arctic expeditions. That was it. The dream. What had it been about? It was just out of his reach, the images already fading. A crafty smile twitched at the corner of his mouth. Fairies. Something about fairies. I love these books! It's just... This book goes to the... Oh! It's beautiful. Continuity is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Next week, more Artemis Fowl. It's a good thing. I will see you next week. Goodbye.